just a pretty good illustration that even when you're dealing with a bunch of crap, just keep pushing till you get where you need to go. Alright, so what I'm working on right now is I've noticed that my pear tree, the limbs aren't quite big enough to support the fruit, and I've already had the end that had a cluster of about 6 or 7 snap off when we had a really heavy wind the other week, and some of these are starting to bow down a little bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pound in a few T-posts around the tree and string some hay twine to those limbs and just give them some support. It's probably probably a year too early for this thing to really try to bear fruit, so I'll give it this season, probably prune it here in the off season, and then next year hopefully it's a little bit more stout to be able to support the fruit here, but we're going to work on that. Alright, so nothing super special. I didn't even drive these all the way down into the ground. I just wanted to have something that was going to be sturdy to tie it to. If I have any additional needs, I'll do that. I'll add additional support. I've got one more here at the ready in the event that this branch right here needs it, but I want to give them their own chance to kind of secure themselves as best they can before I intervene at all. But we've got some good sized fruit. Some of these are a little bit bigger than a golf ball, so I don't know how much bigger they'll get. Like I said, this is the first year for this tree to be bearing fruit, so, and there's 4 different varieties on that tree. If you could see how much greener it is out here, out on my neighbor's property there, since we had our big flood. I've got a bunch of little things sprouting up all around the house here. After taking my other market hog to the butcher, I actually found out, I called him this morning to schedule a fall butcher date, and I got a hanging weight on that hog that I dropped off, and it actually ended up weighing 183 pounds, which is right in the window. I thought 180 to 190, so that's pretty nice to have that I also am kind of reconfiguring the pastures in an effort to allow some of the forage to come in and to get the pigs focused on kind of spreading out this hay. I'm gonna put my shades on here, it's pretty bright out. So if you look behind me there, we've got those big square bales of hay out there that I got from my neighbor that's kind of spent hay. And my pigs haven't really been rooting around in that. One reason being is that it's been my smaller pigs in here, but I moved Tootsie out of here. She's in the middle pen with her son, and just kind of letting them both grow up a little bit until she has her babies, and then Heath will get kicked out over to where the boars are going to be. And I opened up this middle pasture, which had the smaller, I had a couple barrows and a couple gilts in here of American Guinea Hogs, and I brought in from the big pasture area the rest of them. So I had 4 more gilts out there and the goat. You can see Bodie's out on the picnic table, which is where I've got his salt block. And so I brought them in here. I closed the boars off over into the large pen, and so they'll be getting the grass clippings and excess food from the food bank. And I'll probably go out and pick a lot of the amaranth and stuff that's growing on the field next to them and toss it over the fence. Hey, Bodie. But then that leaves 10 pigs in between the small pasture area over here and this middle pasture area. So they've got about 2.5 acres roughly to kind of roam around in. And I shut off the big pasture from everybody, and I may eventually move the boars and pumpkin over there, but right now I just want to see what it'll do with all this rain, if I can get some forage outgrown over there and let it kind of establish a little bit, and then I might move them in later in the season and allow probably this small pasture area once I can kind of spread the hay out a little bit more. But that's why I've got a lot of the pigs in here for, is so that they start rooting around in these hay piles. And I've been dumping their grain on the hay to try to kind of kickstart them rooting around. They'll smell the sour liquid kind of seeping down to the bottom, and hopefully kind of just move everything around. I don't know how much of that they'll actually eat, but I'm not worried about them eating it. I'm worried about them kind of helping spread it around. And then once it gets spread around enough, or the bale gets broken down enough, then I'll come through and I'll manually rake it, and eventually I'll drag my rake behind my tractor, the arena rake, and have it incorporate into the soil that way as well. So that's kind of the update. Very humid, fairly hot, not terribly hot. We're in the 90s right now, not too bad, but we do have some thunderstorms that are forecasted to come up here this weekend, so we got to get ready for that, and hopefully we don't have any issues. I think the main issue why we flooded last time was because that tree fell in the road, and we've gotten that taken care of, and we just have to wait and see what the next rain brings and go from there. So I was out playing with Asher in the grass over there, and I looked over and I noticed that some of my pigs were over on my neighbor's property. So I'm going to investigate. So I said earlier I had opened up this area here to, oh, it looks like my goat's on the other side too. I had opened up this area here to my smaller pigs, but I've had my orange Duroc and the 2 boars out here without any problems for months. And Now it looks like somebody found their way under the fence or through the fence or whatever, so we gotta figure that out. Well, if they're gonna get out over here, at least for the next couple days, they'll probably stay close to this stuff that's right here. Although I am still missing one from looking around, but they might be sitting in the shade somewhere I just can't see. But what I did was I just opened up this hog panel that I had here as a barrier. And I'm not as concerned about my pigs as I am the goat. I don't want him trying to like jump over the barbed wire and get his belly snagged or something like that. So I have permission from my my neighbor to graze my pigs over here. So that's not an issue. It's just a matter of whether I want them out there or not. So I may end up reinforcing this and just not letting this group on the small pasture here and have them over there. But that's what happens when there's green stuff. They want to go to it, they want to eat it, and I don't want to starve them or anything. So as long as they're staying around, they should be fine to explore a little bit. All right, well, I know I said that I didn't want to let these pigs into this paddock, the grasture area, this year, unless I actually was watching them very closely. And I haven't fed them this morning, so I'm gonna let them graze out here for a little while. This is a day that I would normally cut this grass, so I'm gonna let them kind of clip down the top a little bit for, I don't know, maybe an hour or so. And right now Pumpkin's just pulling up weeds, so I don't mind that at all. But if they start rooting around, then I'll just collect their food and toss it over into their main pen and then close them off from this area. But it's nice to let pigs be pigs, so that's what I'm gonna let them do. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, comment on this video, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Click the bell notification so that you're notified when we have upcoming content. And as always, thanks for joining us, and God bless.